Hello, boys and girls. Lord Hawkeye here again. I'd like you to picture this for me, just to help set the stage of what I'm going to talk about today. Now, if you were to ask me, what is going to happen to you tomorrow? Is there any answer I could give to that question with absolute certainty? No, not really. I could tell you what might happen, or what's likely to happen, or what I personally would bet on happening. But I could never say with any degree of certainty what will happen, because that's the future, and the future has not been written yet. However, if you were to ask me, what will not happen to me tomorrow, could I answer that with absolute certainty? Sure. If I said, I will not see a rock fall up and down at the same time tomorrow, because I know that will not happen, because that cannot happen, that's contradictory. Alright, so keeping that in mind, here's today's topic. I think one of the biggest mistakes Status and many other people make when trying to debate is claiming to predict the future. You hear this all the time. Oh, if we didn't have a government, everyone would rape and destroy and all this sort of thing. They say, oh, private courts could never work because X, Y, and Z. You see all these arguments all the time. And they all have the same inherent flaw. They work on the belief that you actually know the future with any degree of certainty. And to those people, I always have to ask, really? You know the future that well? You want to tell me what the horse race tomorrow is going to be like? I think I could make some extra scratch. Yeah, you see? Anyone who had any degree of insight into the future would be a multi-billionaire right now. That's how the world is. I mean, I've pointed this out before, like a way long time ago I pointed out that have you ever looked at what people 100 years ago or even 50 years ago predicted about us? They got practically everything wrong. But I don't know if they got anything right, in fact. So when people make these arguments that I know the future and I know this cannot work, like I said before, it's just irrational fear of change talking. And this is probably one of the biggest flaws with the argument that the ends justify the means, besides the fact that this is effectively arguing that human lives are yours to dispose of however you see fit, which is pretty despicable already, but it falls apart even further when you think about it. The ends justify the means. Even if we assume that people's property and people's time and everything else is all yours to dispose of, even if we allow that, can you really say, with any degree of certainty, that you know for a fact that the end result of your grandiose plan is going to outweigh the harm caused by it? And even besides the point that you can't, it's kind of subjective whether it does actually outweigh the bad produced by it. So once again, this doesn't work. People need to one of the big steps to wisdom, besides calling things by their proper, if calling things by their proper name is the first step to wisdom, then I'd say the second step is understanding your limits. No, people, you do not know the future. Stop pretending you do. Now, of course, a lot of people probably would inevitably ask me, but Hawkeye, you say that a lot of status plans will never work all the time. No, I don't say they can't. I don't say they won't work. I say they can't work. There's a big difference, and hence my point at the beginning about what can I say will not happen tomorrow. The reason why I know for a fact status plans will not work is because they cannot work because they are based on contradictions. Like the whole idea of law enforcement. You're going to prevent the initiation of violence by giving people permission to initiate violence. That is contradictory. You have to address that, otherwise your entire idea is a complete wash. Like socialized healthcare. It mathematically cannot continue. It is mathematically unsustainable. This is the point you have to address. This means that all you're going to do is rack up a debt and eventually screw over a generation beyond all hope of repair. So you can make all the moral platitudes you want for socialism. It doesn't matter. Socialism is not financially sustainable. If you can find a way to make it financially sustainable, I'm all ears. But you can't just ignore that point. It's very important. and pretty much all status arguments. They all have contradictions, and that is why I can say beyond a shadow of a doubt that they will not work, they cannot work, and they will never work. So, that's all I got to say about that. Until next time, be aware and be wise.